So if you're a practice owner looking to scale and grow your practice, you really need two things, like two essential things to get going. You need stronger marketing so you have that pipeline of referrals coming into your practice because you need that revenue to grow. And you also need to keep your clinicians' books full, okay? So there's that. The second thing is you need to be able to hire top talent, right? You need to be able to attract talent to your practice so that you could be known for doing really good work. But the game has really changed on these things. So after launching 12 private practices across the country, and I'll explain how I do that and why that matters to our talk a little bit. But I have found that, I used to be able to say if we partner together, I could scale you up, get your books full in about 6 to 8 months because I know how to do all the Google things, I know how to do the SEO, I know how to build a brand, and we can get it going. And about 2 years ago, that's radically changed. That has radically changed. And I had to change my approach. There's a good chance that you've had to as well. And here's why. There's been about $9 billion of venture capital money that have come into the market since 2019 to 2022. All right, so this is not even up to date. And why is that? Well, VCs saw an opportunity because of COVID. We had the rapid adoption of online therapy. The demand for mental health skyrocketed. So there was supply and there was demand, but there really lacked the middleman to kind of make those connections. So VCs are like, let's go, we got this. And this is what I like to call the rise of big therapy. And the way I kind of think about big therapy are you have online providers that are like national, and we know these, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we also have a ton of directory sites that are out there, okay? And what they do essentially is they're like the middleman. They'll say, we'll do some of those marketing things for you, some of those operational things, if you subscribe to our network and those, all right? So $9 billion, and here what we're talking about is Alma, BetterHelp, Grow Therapy, Talkspace, Ours, which is Serena Williams' venture capital fund, Blink, Headway. We have online directory sites like the OGs, Psychology Today, Good Therapy, and since then, here's a few more, and there's even more directory sites out there today. Other market factors are franchises. Have anyone heard of Ellie Mental Health? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know about that till someone told me about it. Nora, there's actually a lot of Ellie Mental Health in Colorado. We also have SIPAC, so a lot of independent practices are now going into multi-state. And so these online providers, there's at least 100,000 providers, at least, combined on these networks. They facilitate about over 1 million appointments per month on their platforms. Headway reported 600,000 a month on their platform, and they've raised over $800 million. And if you know anything about venture capital, it is like spend, 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 grow, 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 grow. They will just outspend you all day. So what does this mean, big therapy? Well, it's sucking up market share. So we were talking like, I don't know, have you seen like just over the last couple of years, like leads kind of like slow down, right? Yeah, because they're outspending you. It's also difficult to hire good clinicians because these online providers like, hey, you could start your own practice and we'll provide all those leads for you, all those things, right? So good clinicians are just starting to go out on their own. They will outspend you on digital marketing. So if you just like counselors near me, you're gonna see, this was just in my area, you have the top 3, Grow Therapy, Hello Alma, BetterHelp, I call Big Therapy, and then we have a local group down here. So now they're dominating Google ad space. Let's just say organic results. So like therapists near me, Psychology Today has 2 spots, first and third, Yelp, another directory. This is the only organic listing in my area that showed up. Good Therapy, ZocDoc, Mental Health Match, all directory sites, okay? Who's getting depressed? Yeah. And then also, Google ads are terrible. They're terrible today. This happened in the last, that's Jamie next door, so working the crowd. And Google ads, this started happening to me in my ads accounts 8 months ago. I wanted to like, all right, show my client's ad when they put in counseling near me. And they're like, well, that's a policy violation. I'm like, what? So I had to like go in and appeal, and that just started happening. And so it's even like these banned searches, you have to just go through all these appeal processes. I did another one for an EMDR intensive client that I have, and they're like, this is another policy violation. I'm like, and it's like addiction services. I'm like, we don't talk about addiction anywhere on this website. So that's just getting more frustrating to run Google Ads. And what this really means is like there's this kind of risk of codependence where in some cases, practice owners need big therapy in order to survive, and big therapy actually needs you as well in order to survive. So, I have this meme here, join me on the dark side, you only have to sign here. And so big therapy plus Google really does equal an unfair advantage right now for independent practice owners. Google has simply amassed too much market power and is now have the power of life and death over many small publishers. You have a website, you're considered a publisher. That's what, okay? You publish a blog. Google's not a benevolent dictator, it's totally self-interested, and its primary focus is quarterly revenue growth. They're in it to make money. This is not just, by the way, in the mental health space. This is the blogosphere all over. If you had a blog that talked about movies, right, you are buried. You're no longer there. Rotten Tomatoes, all these other, they're gonna outrank you all day. Google released a helpful content update and just obliterated mom and pop blogs on like how to restore your kitchen or things. Just almost gone from the websites now. Not a helpful content. So how do you survive? You have to build a brand. And I'm going to show you why that's important. Before I get into that, 9 years ago, my wife came home from, this feels so long ago. She came home and she was getting her hour, she was pre-licensed, and she said, Brent, when I'm fully licensed, I want to start my own practice. I want it to be private pay. I just want to work with kids. And as you can tell, we had very young kids. She was actually 6 months pregnant with Simeon at that time. And we've never started business before. We didn't have money to start a business or pay someone to build a website. We were starting from absolute scratch. If we were going to live in Chicagoland, we really needed 2 incomes to make this work. So failure wasn't an option. And like many of you probably wake up with anxiety in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. You're like, oh, I'm starting my own practice. But you have like all these ideas, and it was really exciting and terrifying at the same time. So she told me, Brent, I need you to do branding and marketing. And I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. So I had to figure it out. So I went down that really deep dive of branding and marketing, learned how to do and when I say all the things, all the things, all the things. Today, here's my family, and we had a little surprise, Isaac, 6 months ago. And Kid Matters is 11 clinicians today, 100% private pay still, $1 million in revenue over that, and 4,000 email subscribers. Videos and emails, and I'll talk about this more, were really important in building a brand, okay? So I've done all the SEO, branding, content creation, videos, e-courses. I've done all those things, and I've been a story brand guide. Well, I was a story brand guide for 5 years, which also was really helpful. And these are some of the representation of some of the practices across the country that I've helped scale and grow and partnered with. And really my mission is to help 30,000 practice owners either help launch, grow, and scale by 2030. And so brand your practice is sort of like the education business, consulting service size, private pay practices and e-course. Therasas is the CRM, which is what I'm here with my booth outside. The group practice scaling summit I do with Nate every year, and we're having ours in February again. And Play Therapy Toolbox is an e-course for play therapists, because my wife's a play therapist. And I want to share a little bit how I do this with practice owners, because I had to figure this out when it came to big therapy. So when I partner with a practice, I go in and do the brand message, WordPress website, local SEO, film the videos, we film all the clinicians, we build brands for all the clinicians on the team, I manage all the Google ads, graphic design, all that. And then I also partner on the financial side, so we implement Profit First, and I contract with Nate to do the bookkeeping. And then on the operational side, it's sort of like, here are all the best practices, SOPs that we have, employee manuals, so we can scale you up as quick as possible. So I come in and all that. And the reason why I say this, because I'm financially motivated. So I provide systems at scale, long-term relationships, and I'm only paid if the practice makes money. And so when big therapy came around, like, we had to figure out a way to outperform them. And this is what's kept me up at night. This has been the biggest thing. I mean, I get it. It's hard to grow a brand. It takes a lot of time to grow a brand. That's my tired dad face too. But I believe that building a brand is really the only way that you can survive now in the midst of big therapy. So here's our plan for today. I'm going to talk about what is a brand, why you should build a brand, and then how to build a brand, and to get you thinking a little bit about personal branding. Has anyone heard about personal branding? Okay, thank you, Jenna. And the other hand, Nate. Yeah, Nate. So, all right, let's talk about what is a brand. And I'm going to start large, and we're going to go down and narrow down into personal branding. So, Chris Doe had a conversation with Marty Neumeier about branding, and Marty said this: a brand is not a logo, it's not a website, it's not social media. A brand is not a promise, a brand is a reputation. A brand is a person's gut feeling about a product, service, or organization. It ends up in their heads and in their hearts. It's not what you say it is, it's what they say it is. Your brand is the result of how people perceive you after interacting with your logo, brand message, website design, videos, online reviews, webinars, emails, and the services you provide. Here's how it works. The customer or the client takes all that raw material that you're throwing at them, and they develop a brand about you. Okay? So what is your gut reaction when you see these two brands? Sports? Okay. Expensive? Yeah. What was it? Elevated? Yeah. Which one though? Both? Or is there one that you're like, I feel more elevated? My gut. Yeah.
I think the best with Jordan.
Yeah.
Maybe not what they're selling, but who he is.
Yeah. I want to be like Mike.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wanted to dunk like Jordan. I'm a Cleveland Cavs fan because I grew up in Cleveland. And I had to watch Jordan every year because we could never win. And then we get him. But yeah, I want to be like Mike. What else? Any other?
Quality.
Quality? Which one?
It depends on the product.
Okay. Yeah. Someone else say something? Was?
Like the Jordan one feels more exclusive. Like if I saw that, I would obviously like I wouldn't buy it because I'd be like, oh, I'm not in that club.
Okay.
But if I see Nike, the symbol, I'm like, oh, I would buy that because that's for me.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Do you know how much Michael makes off his personal brand each year or each day? $700,000 a day. A day. Yeah. Not bad. He also gambles it a lot of the way, but yeah. So it's play money for him. Yeah, yeah. I would also say, like, this is a really good example of personal branding versus corporate branding. Although this is very corporate, it's also very personal, right? Okay? If Hyatt and Apple switch places, so if Hyatt built a computer, is it clear in your mind what that computer would look like? If Apple was to build a hotel, would it be clear in your mind what that hotel could look like? Okay, all right. Yeah, sleek, maybe modern, maybe high quality, premium. Yeah, right? All white, right, yeah. Metallic and white, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the power of branding. You can actually picture in your mind what the Apple Hotel could look like. That's the strength of a brand. Harvard Business Review, on personal branding says people are forming opinions about you whether you like it or not, and consciously or subconsciously you're advertising yourself. So everyone has a personal brand because you have a reputation. So what do you think is the common denominator across the strongest brands in the world?
Consistency and clarity.
Okay, consistent. And maybe I should say, brand, like, why do we buy them in some ways? Quality. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Marketing.
Market, yeah.
You identify with it in some way.
Mm-hmm. You identify it. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
The reputation.
Yeah, reputation. And what would you say defines that reputation? What if you could put it in a word or two? Yeah. I would argue that the most common denominator is trust. Like they're building trust because if you buy this, you're helping me become the thing that I want to become or feel, right? You are trusting. because people buy trust. And why does this matter? Because our brains are really wired for survival. Think of this in the clinical world, like people will sign up for your services to get clinical help because they trust you, right? I mean, they have to trust you at some level, all right? So our brains are wired for survival, and people buy from those they trust. This is same for real estate agents and plumbers, right? If you start looking for a plumber, you're going on their websites and like, who do I trust the most to help me solve this problem? And the fastest, usually the fastest. People will do business in partnerships, right? It's all about trust. So we organize our worlds. This is coming from StoryBrand, but we all organize our worlds like we're in a story. We are typically the hero in our story, and we're looking for a trusted guide. This is why you come to conferences, right? This is why you're maybe even here, right? You have a branding issue you're trying to work through, a marketing issue, and you're looking for a trusted guide to help show you the way, right? That's how it is. And so in many stories, a hero cannot solve their own problems, so the writer is going to insert a guide. So the guide will then help show the hero how to win the day, and then the hero has to take that action. And there's really like three groups of people who are looking for a trusted guide as it relates to as practice owners. So you have your therapy clients. They're looking to a trusted guide for their most intimate issues in their life to help them. Team members are looking for a guide, who are the practice owners, to help guide them, whether that's training or to provide a good working environment, predictable income. And then you also have referral sources who are looking for a trusted guide to send clients to. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, hey, do you know a good resource for this? You just go to Google and you type in and you just kind of do a quick cursory look. You're like, oh, this therapist looks pretty safe. Just from the website, right? What they're reading, right? They're looking for trusted guides. Okay, so let's wrap up part one. A brand and a personal brand is your reputation. People are looking for a trusted guide. The call to action is be the guide, and we'll talk a little bit more about that too. Any questions? Yeah.
Consistency goes hand in hand with trust, right?
Mm-hmm. I talk about that as one of my action items, so yeah. Yeah, consistency is key in that. And what you're consistent in and doing can be important as well. Yeah. Any other questions?
I guess just sometimes my struggle with branding or conceptualizing it in our field is when I think of going to a dentist or going to a doctor, the trust part is extremely important, but that's based off of their experience.
Mm-hmm.
If their website is terrible, if they don't even have one, like all of that personal brand part, I don't even think about, or it doesn't take priority. So then how does that then work for us? How, you know what I mean? And sometimes I'm like, should I just be the best, or should I work on my personal brand?
Yeah. Well, I think that almost goes hand in hand. Being the best is also part of your personal branding. Like position yourself as like the expert. Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're?
Yeah, it's just different. Like when we do like the Nike thing or the Apple thing, it's like, ooh, like I want that product. But when it comes to a service, all I think about is what is this person's experience?
Mm-hmm.
What are maybe even like the reviews, but not so much about how it makes me feel, right? Like I said, like the website could be really ugly, but I bet who cares because this is the person I want to see to fix my teeth.
Yeah, sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, it comes highly recommended and they've been doing this for 35 years,
Yeah.
right? And that says that on the website or whatever. So that's building trust, right? Just those words or that experience or the degrees of the certifications or how many clients they've served or whatever. Even if the website looks bad, the words are compelling you to move in that direction to see their services. Now, imagine how wonderful that would be if they had that same information with like a nice clear website, then you wouldn't even double think about, second guess yourself. Yeah, but again, that goes back to the trusted guide. A trusted guide will always show empathy and authority, right? Because you want both, right? I know how difficult it is to have a bad tooth, right? But I'm going to get you in here. It's only going to take an hour. You're not going to feel much pain, and we're going to get you out, and you're going to be feeling like $100 again. You can go eat your steak in 3 hours or whatever, something like that. Do you have a question?
therapy is such a personalized, personal, right, service. And what comes to mind is with those threes, there's a story behind them as well. So sometimes for us, it may mean, our unique value proposition would be our story, our background, why we, got to, became who we
Yeah.
were, or the service we provide, like with Jordan. I mean, there's a story behind
Huge story, yeah.
Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Google him and look at how he progressed.
Huge story behind apples, yeah. 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 And I'm actually going to touch on that, a little bit on the origin story and how that's important to think about branding as well. Okay, I'm going to keep moving. Ask questions along the way. Couple of, brand is your reputation. Marketing could just be, it's reputation management, right? So you're just throwing things out into the world, your brand, your message, your social media, right? And that's just, you can just say it's reputation management. So why build a personal brand? We're going to talk about three, kind of the topic today. Attract talent you can hire, strengthens your marketing, and you can use it to leverage passion projects, okay? So why build a personal brand? I'm going to play this, but it's only a few seconds. I'm going to turn it up. We will see.
I don't think everyone should be famous. I don't think everyone should build a personal brand. I don't think everyone should anything. You can do whatever you want. And I have billionaire friends who want to stay anonymous, and they're pretty smart dudes. I do think that from a money-making perspective is a time warp. You can just go way faster. That is because you can attract talent at such a higher rate than you could otherwise. You can bring people on who already know your values, know what you're about, have already consumed more content than most people's employees currently know about them and their way of doing business. You can basically pre-train your entire team before they come on board because of the amount of stuff that you put out. And those are just unbelievably valuable things. Not to mention, if you're on the deal side, like for us, like investing in companies, we have so much more trust at the table. It's so much better as a process, having been on both types of deals, like white knuckle deals and really friendly deals. Way more fun to do friendly deals. So that's the pros.
So what he's saying here is he's got billionaire friends who want to develop a personal brand, or don't want it and they don't care, they want to stay anonymous. And he says, for those who do though, it's like a time warp for getting things done. And he says you can hire talent because they've already consumed content and knows you. I think of Elon Musk in his personal brand. He's able to hire the top software engineers in the world if he's going to start another business or whatever, all on his personal brand. Because he's willing to take risks. He's launching rockets into space and saving astronauts and all these other things who are stuck up there. So. But this is really true when it comes to at least personal branding. You can begin to hire talent because they've already consumed your content. So what does this look like? So for my wife and other practices, we create videos around hiring, and sometimes we'll even put testimonials from other clinicians as well. But we're talking on those pain points around community, education. We're just talking about our values. And what we have found in the interview process is they actually repeat those values back to us. They're like, what really stood out at Kid Matters Counseling is you really value education. And I'm really looking to learn how to work with kids, right? So we have videos, and then they will go on to Susan's, the YouTube channel and watch videos and show how we're educating and we're helping parents and things like that. I have another client in Florida, Rachel, and she had a really strong personal brand. When she was ready to start growing her group practice, she was able to hire 3 or 4 people right away. They were just waiting for her to open her practice because she had a really strong personal brand. All right, so let's talk about strengthens your marketing. So you know SEO is in trouble when you have SEO sites talking about the new SEO imperative, building your brand. Google is looking out for number 1. It's time you do too. There's a lot of these websites. SEO is dead. And in some ways, I kind of agree with them at one level. And I just want to kind of show you what they mean by this. So I'm going to show you some examples on Google searches in the case of building a brand and why it's so important. Okay, so we have, where does someone go when a problem arises? So we have 3 stages here. The person's problem aware, all right, my marriage is in trouble. They're solution aware. Oh, I actually need marriage counseling. Marriage counseling is the solution to this problem. And then they're brand aware. Okay, Thrive Marriage Counseling helps couples. So if someone is just problem aware, they might type in signs of a troubled marriage. And now at the top, you have Google's AI overviews, and they got a law firm at the top, a big blog in the middle, and then AARP. Most of these are not even written by therapists, but they're interns and AI. And you also notice that Google's AI overviews, they're pulling from like the top 3 organic search results. Okay, a quick tangent. So I had this really great blog post. I did all the SEO. It's called How to Start Your Private Practice. I'm like, darn it, I'm gonna get #1 on this thing. So I did. I was like #1 for a really long time. And I tracked it, and I would get 15 email addresses a day because I had a lead generator, like download the checklist, all right? Big Therapy comes along, reverse engineers my SEO. They just put a blog post that's just straight text. It's the most ugly thing in the world, but if you go to mine, it's like beautiful. We got graphics, I got videos, all the things that Google told me I needed to do to represent that I am an expert in this field, okay? Well, all of a sudden I was getting like 3 emails, 2 emails, and now I'm like 6, 7, 8, 9, and all the directory sites or Hello Alma, right? They write the same thing. Psychology Today was, oh no, Simple Practice was doing it, and I was like buried, absolutely buried. However, I saw the other day I ranked #1. I was like, how did I do that? Google's always kind of testing things. I didn't rank #1. Google was actually citing me in their AI results. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I wasn't getting more emails for it, but I was like, oh, but Google's like testing, like they were testing me, my content to see how it was. I was like, oh, cool, I'm an AI, and maybe if you like click over a little bit, you can finally get to my website, right? But anyways, that's the AI. So my marriage is in trouble. Let's see what solution aware. I need marriage counseling. Okay, so someone might type in couples counseling near me. This is, all right, so we have New Think Counseling, which I don't know if that's local or not. That sound, New Think, in you, I don't know what that is. But you have Grow Therapy and BetterHelp. All right, so now Google Ads, like are necessary to stay competitive if you want to try to show up for that. And then you'll see, I did SEO for this practice like several years ago. So, but you see Psychology Today, Yelp, Reddit. Google did a partnership with Reddit, and now Reddit's showing up all over. But you're like, your brand gets buried. Your brand gets buried now when people are searching it. So when people say, I have people doing SEO, I'm like, that is hard. How are you ranking for that? Like, that is really hard now, given this. No, you have to do it. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, but people are like, I do a blog post every week. I'm like, great, Google's not even ranking it. No one's ever seen it. It has no helpful. Oh yeah, I see it all the time. That was thinking like 10 years ago. Google's helpful content update. Reddit's really helpful. It's like for couples counseling near me. It's like, come on. All right, I didn't get into the local map pack, which is like the last bastion of hope for practice owners, but ThriveWorks and other directory sites are weaving their way in and spamming it. Yeah, Google doesn't care about you. I promise this will get a little more encouraging as I go along. But let's talk about brand aware. So if someone, my marriage is in trouble, but they know that Thrive Marriage Couples helps, right? And so they type that name in, but in this case, I'm gonna do Kid Matters. So let's just say, if someone just type in Kid Matters Counseling, Google ads aren't really necessary. So we have Kid Matters, my wife's practice. We show up on Yelp. By the way, don't get a Yelp. They're the worst.
They are the worst.
If I'm a capitalist through and through, but if there is one business that would just be extinct, Yelp would be the one. Facebook, Kid Matters. YouTube, Kid Matters. LinkedIn, Kid Matters. Nextdoor, Kid Matters. Health Grades, Kid Matters. You own the page on Google. You own the page on Google. Competitors are nowhere. And look, there's even their Google business profile. This is why building a brand, this is how you beat big therapy. You want people typing your name into Google. Now, they still might throw ads against you, but it's less likely. When it comes to personal branding, same thing, right? Where do they go? Oh, Dr. Elizabeth, the marriage therapist. I'm going to type her name in. I went ahead and did Susan. So let's say this is my wife, Susan Stutzman, therapist. You'll have one ad up here, probably because therapist was mentioned in the search query. But you'll see Susan, Psychology Today, Play Therapy Toolbox, LinkedIn, Kid Matters twice. The Hinsdalian, which is a local newspaper that sometimes Susan writes articles for once a year, twice a year. I also want you to know, Google ads aren't necessary. You own the page. Competitors are nowhere. And look at Google created a brand relationship between Kid Matters and Susan. So when you type in Susan Stutzman Therapist, the Kid Matters Google business page came up. Okay? So now Google's created, in their algorithm, a brand relationship between the two. So let's talk about branding has a direct link to SEO, which I showed you about. But you want to think about developing your brand in the real world. So like local sponsorships, or try to write articles for your local paper if you can. You want people typing your name into Google. You want people typing your name into Google, because then Google's going to be collecting all those signals, search signals, and developing a brand about you. Like, for example, orthodontists must have a ton of money because they sponsor so many baseball fields in our community. But like something like this, right? Just a simple sponsorship of something. This is at our elementary school. And people will remember that. People will Google it. All right, let's talk about why build a personal brand to leverage passion projects. Because I know a lot of group practice owners here want to like branch out, maybe do consulting or supervision or anything like that, okay? So a strong personal brand is really leveraged to build new professional relationships, business opportunities, and pursue passion projects. Have you seen a rise in celebrities doing this? Have you seen a they're all starting YouTube channels now, right? Cristiano Ronaldo broke the record of the most subscribers. I think it was 1 million subscribers in 90 minutes. He already had an Instagram. He's like, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, right? And so now Mr. Beast does collaborations with, it's crazy. And this is how they kind of do this. You have your personal brand, and you have like your business over here, your business over there, passion projects over here, nonprofit over there. That's kind of how they can use their personal brand for leverage. Let's talk about Reese Witherspoon. Does anyone know how she made a lot of money? Her book club. All right, Hello Sunshine. 30 million followers on Instagram. And she has a book club with 3 million subscribers. In order for the book to be recommended in the book club, you have to grant her the media rights to that book. Yeah, now you know where this is going. Yeah, so based on audience feedback, she knows what could make a good movie, all right? She sold her production company for $900 million to BlackRock. And some other people, or sorry, to Blackstone, not BlackRock, Blackstone. Let's talk, Ryan Reynolds is like my favorite, great personal brand story here, regardless of what's going on with his wife right now. I don't know. I just like stay over there. Well, let's talk about Ryan Reynolds. Okay, so he's now like, he will buy equity into businesses because he knows he can grow them through his personal brand, or he'll just say, give me equity and I will do marketing for you. So he's, and he does this through his YouTube channel. Well, he sold his stake in Aviation Gen for $67 million. His Gen commercial, do you ever see the vasectomy commercial that he did for Father's Day with Aviation Gen? Watch it. It's amazing. It's so funny. Yeah, you have yeah. Well, you all know what happened after that little baby came along. My picture. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wonder, with these celebrities, is it him, or does he have a really good marketing team? Oh, smart. And is Cristiano Ronaldo that have all those ideas?
Yeah, so they have teams, but they're using him. So Ryan Reynolds actually started a production company so he can do commercials for the brands that he has equity stakes in. So yeah, a lot of actors, because they age out at like 30, right? So out of Hollywood at 30, they'll start their own production companies. That's how they stay afloat. And so, oh, he probably doesn't need a financial planner. He's like, I know how to make a gajillion dollars. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe they got coached on it, right? But this is nothing new of them doing these things. Yeah.
They also have like great PR teams, so I think it is like a team aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you look at like local, if you look at like your local area, if you see somebody who's doing really well all of a sudden, it's like, well, probably because they're in a way paying to play.
Yeah.
So having that support can
Yeah.
push you forward faster.
Yeah. He sold his stake in Mint Mobile. Did you ever read those commercials he did with Mint Mobile? He sold his stake for $300 million. He's made over $50 million playing Deadpool. And it's in his box office, I think, well over $1 billion in sales. So his own personal brand all over the world, right? Did anyone know this story? He bought a soccer team for $2 million. It just got promoted, so now they're saying it's worth about $100 million. I didn't show this, but if you go to his YouTube, just look up Ryan Reynolds Production Company. On one of his YouTube, is it a commercial? I don't know. It's him on his YouTube channel. He goes to Wrexham. Half the Wrexham players are wearing aviation gym jerseys, and he's talking about cybersecurity with 1Password because he has an equity stake with 1Password. So in like one video, and it's funny, he's got 3 of his brands going. And you watch the things because they're hilarious. And then he's like, you know what? I want to get into F1 racing. So he bought a $218 million stake in the F1, which is really hot right now. Nate knows about it. He's a big F1 fan. So, all right, but I know what you're thinking. Brent, I'm not a celebrity. I don't have millions of dollars. Let me share a story about Ultrasound Jenny. So Ultrasound Jenny, I had to go get an ultrasound because I think I had some gallbladder stuff going on. Turns out it didn't. But she had to do an ultrasound. She was my ultrasound, and she was wearing this Ultrasound Jenny swag. And I was like, that's really cool. And she was really sweet. She did a great job on my ultrasound. Sounds so weird saying that. And then at the end, I'm like, this is gonna sound really weird, but could I take a picture of your sweatshirt? Because I'm doing a talk on personal branding. She's like, cool, not a problem. And she like does that. But I was like, that's a really cool example of an employee in a huge hospital system have like a small personal brand. Everyone's gonna remember Ultrasound Jenny. And like her friends did this for her. Everyone's gonna remember her. They're gonna, on the comment cards, like the feedback cards, they're all gonna write and remember her name on that because they all want feedback on how the services went. And she might be able to leverage that for like promotions or, whatever, right? Because she's got all this really good, great personal brand, all right? I was to talk about Casey for a second. This is kind of how Casey's done it, right? She started with her group practice, and then she did Mindsight Partners, and then the Meet You in Kentucky conference where she speaks. She's written books, right? So she's leveraging her personal brand to do these other things, right? My wife Susan here. This is so she started Kid Matters Counseling. Really loved teaching. And she found she had to do so much education for people coming out of grad school and how to work with kids. So we launched Play Therapy Toolbox because she got tired of teaching the same thing over and over again. So we just film her teaching and sell it for courses, and that's a passion project. And she's now doing private trainings and supervision for play therapists, right? So those are little passion projects, but it's all kind of stemming from the group practice. That kind of funds some of these things because you don't make a ton of money on it. For example, here's our YouTube, 122 videos and over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then over 4,000 subscribers on the email, right? But again, going back to the consistency, which I'll talk about. Play Therapy Toolbox, over 10 courses, over 1,500 students, almost 3,000 email subscribers, and we made $47,000 since 2019. Was 6 years? You're not making a ton of money on all this stuff. Just want to show you that, but it takes time. But because Susan really wants to build a brand and like teach, right? She loves that. This is one of the mechanisms that we do that for, okay? And of course, yeah, live trainings. Susan's also went on to just write books. These are just books to help anxious kids and parents, right? The Worry Wishing Trail, When Sessions End, right? So she just write little books and sell them, You don't make a ton of money, and then she has a podcast. So we'll just round up part 2 here. Round up the why. So building a brand is, able to scale your ability to hire talent. Again, they're consumer content. They know your values. They want to come work for you because of that. It also weeds out the bad actors that may not be a good fit. Strengthens your SEO and marketing efforts, and then you can pursue passion projects to open doors and new opportunities. Okay, questions? And we'll move into the third and final part. Has this been helpful? Is it good? Okay, all right. Yeah, any questions on it? Yeah.
Super random one, but what platform do you use for your courses?
For Play Therapy Toolbox, we use Thinkific. TheraSAS can also host those courses too, but Play Therapy Toolbox started a long time ago, and we're too deep with Thinkific right now with all our automations. Yeah? Mm-hmm.
So, the practice that I work for has a lot of organic traffic that comes in. And the other day we were having a conversation on would it be better if we do marketing or focus on more intimate, community-based, reaching out to local hospitals like
Yeah.
that we exist. In that scenario, when you do have a lot of organic marketing, would you recommend putting the resources into that?
I like that. I mean, I think you should try to do your best to rank on Google if you can, or try, it's easier to rank if you're like an EMDR, people searching for like more niche-y type of services, like intensives or children or teens, some things that like Alma and like Big Therapy is very difficult for them to break into children and that children. But I also would say when I partner with practices, I put in their contract they have to spend at least 2 hours a week doing just organic marketing, connecting. That is just almost essential now for practices. You just have to get out there. 8 years ago, you didn't have to. Google would just send you clients, right? But now you have to build. And I actually think that organic marketing is longer lasting. There's more of a flywheel effect there. And once you get that going, it's hard to turn it off, which is great. So I think it's really important. I think a really great way, because a lot of practice owners and therapists are often, it's kind of lonely. If you can maybe start a once a month consultation group and invite other practice owners from the community in, they'll refer to you if they trust you. And that's a great way to build trust. Yeah.
One of our biggest resources is our Facebook moms group in our community.
Oh, Facebook moms groups. Yeah, you get in those. Yeah.
But the scare, we're always terrified, like, it's just gonna take one pissed off mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's always like, what if we're continuing to build our brand.
Yes.
That the moms like us, we are the moms,
Yeah.
we're part of it, but what if we piss somebody off?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's always going to be somebody.
Like, trying to, I don't know if you have anything to say.
Yeah.
about how we-
Oh man. So there's always going to be someone who leaves a 1-star Google review, right? So that's why you just got to get reviews somehow. Pay your friends to do it, like I say, because you don't want to be weird about it. Sometimes you can get into those groups, but I would say if there was if you know someone in that group, I would find a way to create a resource for that group, like that mom's group, like it's a PDF or a training, or say, hey, I'm doing this free training. Or maybe there's like a webinar that you're doing. Say, can you share this webinar link in that group? I'm doing a free training for this thing. And then that will start to build even more trust. So if someone's like, this person's terrible, but like, I just saw her on this video. Like, she was so helpful to me, right? Like, you know what I mean? So within the group. So what I'm saying, like, try to get that traffic out of the group into your funnel, like into your world and your email list. But you could say, hey, I got this free resource video, whatever, and can you share that in the Facebook group, right? Yeah, have somebody else do it. That's usually the best way. Not like, yeah, here's a video of me, and it'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
When I have my therapist trained in, like, my rules, like, do not join the mom group if you are not a mom. That's not fair.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
Break your trust.
Yeah.
Don't overdo it, and then refer to other people so that you're not just like, look at me.
Yeah.
But it's like a mini, don't piss off the moms training.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll get super fans, right? Like these moms. So yeah, which is great. Leverage that in a non-weird way. Like, hey, if you
Wearing my jacket with my logo, I don't give out logo materials. She's a super fan.
super fan, yeah.
She lives next to the person who makes our stuff, and she's a super fan. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen you post about me.
Yeah.
She's not even a client.
Yeah. Oh.
She's a super fan.
Yeah. And you'll find like people will share that stuff. So I would say, yeah, well, I know it's like But it's you, like we talk about marketing is reputation management, right? So I would figure out a way to like, hey, I got this great resource for parents. Can you just share it in your Facebook group? Like, is there ways that you could just kind of show up by other people sharing your things? I think that would be awesome.
Lead generator within Facebook.
Yeah, or you just give it away for free and then people search for you online. You know, they're typing your name in or whatever. Get really creative with that, yeah. Like, yeah, Facebook groups are great. Like even for TheraSAS, I will know when I get a ton of demo calls, they'll be like, someone talked about you in Facebook and really like Facebook. And then like, all of a sudden I get all these demo calls, right? Yeah, moms groups are crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good, yeah. 10 minutes? Oh, thank you. Okay, all right, let's keep going then. Part 3 here, how to build a personal brand. This is you think about as a consultant or on your clinical side as well. Okay, so who? 3 simple ways to get started building a simple brand. This is Rory Vaden. A personal brand is not about you, it's about the person you're designed to serve. Sam, we were talking about this the other night. And this is like a shortcut, okay? You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. Okay? So, and now I'm going to show this why into the what. You kind of need to be thinking about your origin story, all right? This could be an extended origin story, a short origin story, but you need to develop one. And it needs to be repeatable, so when you're doing your speaking engagements, you can talk about it. People remember stories. So if you can position yourself as a trusted guide in a story, you can. You remember my origin story at the beginning, right? That's for you to just like, oh, I think I can trust Brent, maybe, you know, that type of thing. So it's important because people are going to remember, they'll probably also remember all the other awkward things I've said today as well. But they're looking for a trusted guide. Here's like a really simple formula, right? You are the hero of this story at this point, and you have a problem, but then you meet a guide. Maybe that's a training. Maybe that's a conversation you had with someone. Right? There's some sort of moment where you're like, you got clarity because somebody said something or you read something in a book. And then you talk about how you were transformed. Like, what is that success? Like, what does that trajectory look like? And now you're guiding others who had a similar problem because you were once there and now you're here. And people want to know that. People want to know. And I think if you can position in an origin story, that's going to be really powerful for you. So, like, for example, if you jump on a demo call with TheraSAS with me, I go back in 2021, Kid Matters, we had a spreadsheet, 80 people on a wait list, 60 new client leads per month. Clients were falling through the cracks because it was unmanageable. My wife was like, Brent, you need to fix this. Our intake coordinator, who's Sue, was like, Brent, I cannot stand doing this anymore. We tried to get all the clinicians on it and managing it and color coding things, and it was really convoluted. So we were losing client leads because they were just falling through the cracks. The conversations of where they were at. So where are they at as far as email? Have we texted them? Like, have we followed up? There was no transparency on that. So we were like losing sleep over that process as well. And we just didn't have marketing data to actually make critical decisions of where we should be spending our money, all right? Well, along comes TheraSAS, and it helps solve those problems, right? That's the origin story of TheraSAS, okay? Now, I won't do a live demo on this, but I created this custom chat where I said, hey, can you take Rory Vaden's Rory Vaden's personal branding and Donald Miller's story brand 7-part framework and put those all together, and I gave it some other things. So you feel like, hey, create a brand script message for me in a video, and I'll share this link if you want to download the thing. But like, help me develop an origin story using StoryBrand. So you could just use ChatGPT, things that I've paid thousands of dollars to learn, and it'll do it for you in a matter of seconds. All right, so how do you do this? How do you build a personal brand? Content that's consistent, okay? Are we talking about consistency in that? This was last year's talk that I gave. You need a sales funnel. It's some way, thinking about your marketing as a sales funnel. Curiosity at the top, can you solve my problem? The enlightenment stage, can I trust you? They're asking those 2 questions all the time when they're visiting your website. So figure out something that actually works for you. Do you like writing more? So maybe that's a blog. Do you like public speaking? So maybe you need to develop some webinars and talking points there. Social media actually works for Lisa. That's like pretty amazing. First person I've heard. Talk to her if you want to hear about her social media story. Pick something that you like to do and do it consistently. And if you want to see that talk I gave last year, just go to Brand Your Practice, and there I am down there. Like how to build a powerful sales funnel. Consistent, great service. I'm sure there's breakout sessions for that, but you have to get that word of mouth going. You got to be really good. Your clinicians have got to be really good. You want that word of mouth. And then consistent outreach. This is a picture that I took a couple years ago now. I said, I want to guest 10 podcasts. This is an Excel spreadsheet that I had. I want to be on Julie's podcast, Uriah's podcast, John, Wise Practice, Meet You in Kentucky Conference, Brighter Visions podcast. So I just started going after these people to say, hey, can I speak? Can I be on your podcast? Because I realized I needed to start to develop my own personal brand because Google was killing me. It wasn't ranking me anymore on the things, okay? There's ways you could do that with TheraSAS. Quick TheraSAS plug, 30% off for all new annual subscriptions on this weekend, but you got to get a demo with me at the booth because I want to see if it's a good fit for you, okay? And let me wrap up here. So custom forms, visual pipeline for TheraSAS, all your conversations in one place in the unified inbox, so there's full transparency, and then you got some really great dashboards to see how you're doing, your sales and marketing you're doing. Come talk to me at the table afterwards. All right, so if you don't grow your brand, Big Therapy will continue to dominate you. You will be lost on Google. Someone else could leave you a bad review. So we were talking about that earlier. And then you'll just lack leverage for hiring top talent and pursuing passion projects, okay? So really think about your brand. Some action items. You got to think about a new mindset. You need to think about yourself as a trusted guide. You got to be thinking of yourself. Instill into your team, your clinicians team, people are looking for a guide. Help them play the role of a guide in the role of their clients. I would say do a brand audit on yourself. Just type the name, your own name or your practice name, and just see what comes up. See what comes up. Sorry if like your name is like Sam Smith or something like that. There's so many of them. Number 2, I think you need to create a plan for one of these. Either start with consistent content on one of those platforms that you like, or maybe you need to focus on consistently great service or consistent outreach, that organic side, okay? And then what I'll do is I'm going to leave this up here. So scan this, sign up. I'll email you my custom chat GPT, link to videos on how to build a newsletter or how to make an awesome video. And then once this presentation is edited, we can send that to you as well. So I'll leave this up here. And thank you so much. Any questions in the last minute that we have together?